welcome everybody to another Musiversal live stream, and today I'm here on my own. As always, I'm Pedro, your usual host, and as you can see, I'm by myself here today because we're actually talking about some other stuff here today. We, of course, will be talking about how to make music with Musiversal and how to make the most out of your sessions. But we're not necessarily speaking with a musician today. But that does not make this live stream less important. In fact, if you are already a Musiversal Unlimited user, this live stream will be very, very helpful for you to achieve even more with your current subscription. Because Musiversal is pretty much like an instrument. The more you learn how to use it, the more you can take out of it, and the more you can enjoy it. So there are a few tricks and a few good habits that you should get into if you want to make the most of your out of your sessions, and this is exactly what I will be showing you today. So if you have any questions while I am showing you all this stuff, please let me know in the chat. I am by myself here today, so I might take a little while to check that chat and to actually reply to you. But don't feel discouraged. I will eventually answer every single question that you guys pose here today. Let's start talking about what we're actually going to talk about today, which is how to make the most out of your Musiversal subscription. Basically, this is going to be a checklist for you to be the most effective as you can be when it comes to booking sessions, because if you've been following up these live streams, you probably felt something that our musicians always have been talking about, which is the more organized you are and the more clear you are as to what you're looking for in your music, in your recording session, the better and the more they can do in the session. So let's say you want to record a guitar player. If you have a very, very clear idea of what you're looking for in the track, and you can signal that and communicate that to the guitar player in the best way possible, they are going to understand your message much faster, and they will be able to do much more in the session with you, because they won't waste their time trying to figure out which chord they have to play or trying to figure out what kind of rhythm you're looking for. They already know what's that, and they can spend their time. You can invest the time of your session actually exploring new stuff and recording things that you just want to try out. So this should be very helpful for you guys to make the most of it out of your sessions. And besides that, we're also going to speak a little bit about the technical things that go into exporting files for a session. So everything from sample rate, how to export stems, what is the difference between exporting tracks for a musician to record and exporting tracks for a mixing engineer to mix or a mastering engineer to master. All of that we're going to cover today. So let's start with the start, which I would say the starting point of a song. I'm going to share my screen with you guys, and actually I'm going to show you a track that was produced by Christian, which is also one of our artist relations here at Musiversal. And one of the things, sadly he wasn't able to join us today, but he produced this track and he sent it over to me, and we're going to use this session to show you how you should prepare your tracks to start recording with Musiversal. So this is a very, very simple track that Christian was working. We're using Logic Pro X here, but everything that I'm going to talk about today actually applies to any DAW that you like to use. If you're using GarageBand, if you're using Reaper or Pro Tools or any DAW, you can use that. Probably the commands are going to be a little bit different, or the menus are going to be a little bit different, but the overall picture is what matters, and the overall picture can be replicated in any DAW you use. So this is a pretty simple session that Christian sent me, and it's actually pretty cool song as well. He found a loop that he really enjoyed that he wanted to use. Let's take a listen to that. And also he actually, the main thing of this song is this vocal sample that he made himself. Just let go above the clouds. Actually, let's take a listen to the whole thing and you guys will get the main picture. We'll get the picture. Just let go above the clouds. Where the water flows, that's where I'm dreaming of. Let the water flow above the clouds. Where the water flows, that's where I'm dreaming of. Let the water flow above the clouds. Where the water flows, that's where I'm dreaming of. Let the water Awesome. Now we can have a clear idea of what's going on here and what exactly is we're looking after this session. So there's a couple of things that I want to, oh, just 1 second. I think there's something playing here. Oh yeah, my own live stream is playing here and I was hearing myself speak again. So there are a couple of things that we need to pay attention when we are building a session that we're actually going to send out to other musicians. One of the most important things is synchronization. So whenever you have a session musician recording in your track, you want to be able to just drop that audio file that they're gonna send you right over in the session and it's going to sync immediately, or it's going to be very, very easy for you to synchronize the thing in this track. Now, one of the most common mistakes that I see people making is this. So we get all of our regions and we put them right at the beginning of the session so that it starts at 0. And look at what's happening. It's completely out of sync of what's going on here. This, by the way, this was not done by Christian. I did this on purpose just to show you guys a common mistake that happens, but Christian did not did this. I don't want to throw him under the bus. It's not on him. This is totally on me. So look at this. This 808 is completely out of sync with the starting beat. This should be on the start beat of bar 10, beat 1. But it's playing like in the end of 9, so it doesn't make sense and it's completely out of sync. So the most important thing is we want to make sure that all of this is synchronized and right on beat. Now we know that it's all on beat, but if we export the files like that, we never know if they are actually going to be synchronized, because look at this. We have a region starting right here, which is like on 0.8 seconds. And we have another one starting at 2 seconds and 16. And we have another region starting at 20 seconds and another one starting at 24, and so it goes. Your DAW might be able to export all of these, already normalizing them and consolidating them and making sure that they are synchronized. But we cannot guarantee that, because usually DAWs, they can have their own, agenda. They can have their own will, so to say. So one very good habit to get into is to always have at least one bar and Of course, a couple of people would like to have 2 bars, but have at least 1 bar of silence at the beginning of your session. Because if you decide to record a pickup, for example, or the musician decides to record a pickup, you have this 1 bar here that you can actually, use for that. This 1 bar is actually also going to serve as sort of a kind of a GPS thing when it comes to the tempo. So if we pull our click on, we're actually going to hear the click before the track starts. These 4 clicks here, this pickup right here, this 1 bar can be very helpful for the musicians to get a feel of the tempo before they start recording. So it's actually a very, very good way for you to start your session. Now, one of the most important things when it comes to recording is you have to be mindful of your sample rate. So most questions that come up right after that is, Pedro, what is a sample rate? Now, sample rate is something that only digital audio has. So digital audio is not something that actually exists in the world. It's something that we mimic in the computer. It's a bunch of 1 and zeros and programming language things that go on the computer so that the computer can understand what we're trying to represent sonically and then just send that information to a speaker and we can hear that. The way that the computer does that is, look at this. We have this audio file right here, and I'm going to show you this. We have an audio file, and this is a waveform. This is exactly what is going on in the cables, for example, when we are recording a microphone. This is what is going on through the microphone cable. And this is just a representation that the computer created. Now, look at this. If you look very close, you're going to see that this is not a perfect line. This actually has a bit, some little steps that go over. And this is what tells me this audio is digital. Because what the computer does, it takes a lot of quote-unquote pictures of the audio and it puts them in sequence, one right after the other. And it constructs this wave file digitally in the computer, and then whenever we play that back, it sounds like the real thing. And sample rate is nothing less than the amount of pictures that the computer is taking of the audio for every second. It's pretty much the resolution of the audio. So it's how you have a picture that is like 2 megapixels or 5 megapixels, or you have a video that is HD or a video that is 4K. Sample rate is the measure that we use to measure the resolution of the audio. Usually we start at 44.1 kHz samples. What the hell does that mean? You're probably thinking to yourself. We're talking about 44,100 pictures of the audio taken each second. So all of these little things here, in 1 second we're gonna have 44,000 of them, and this is what the computer uses to construct this audio file. Now 44.1, which is the way that we can call one of the sample rates, is usually the lowest sample rate that we work with professional audio. Of course, there is much lower qualities than that you can record, but when it comes to professional music, we usually don't want to go lower than 44.1 because that is actually the audio quality that you have on a CD. Now, CDs are not used that much today, but that is the quality that we used to have on CDs. Now, when we go to streaming, We do have some streaming services that have different sample rate qualities and different ways of portraying music, but usually when we go to Spotify, it's not even for 4.1. It's actually an MP3 file, is completely compressed and is much lower quality than an ACD. And of course, if we go to non-digital medium, which would be vinyl or tape, this does not apply because it's not digital, so we don't have samples. We actually have the audio recorded electronically magnetically in the tape and physically in the vinyl, and we don't have a sample rate. But 44.1 is the least that we start working with. Most people start recording with 48,000 samples a second, which is 48 kHz or kilohertz, as we would call usually. 48,000 is also the sample rate for video most of the time. So if your song has, you're planning on doing, a video clip for your song, it has to be at least 48,000 samples. Otherwise, it's going to have a little bit of a synchronization problem. Now, how do I change sample rate? And most important, should I change sample rate? And the answer is, well, probably not. Because when we just drag a picture in, like an image editor, and it's a very, very small picture, and we click on the corner to stretch that, and it becomes, pixelated, and it's very weird to look at it. It's not, much quality. This is exactly what happens with audio as well. If we get a audio, for example, that is 44.1, and we stretch it to go 48,000 hertz. It's exactly the same thing. You don't want to get a file that has a lower sample rate and stretch it, convert it for a higher sample rate only digitally. If you have mastering equipment and analog equipment to do that, you might be able to do so, but that's way too complicated for us to talk about today. We're not gonna go into that. Now, when you have a file that is 48,000 hertz or 192,000 hertz, which is also another very common sample rate that we use, you can make it smaller because it's pretty much like taking a very, very big picture and shrinking it. It's not going to lose quality if you do that, but you might have pitch and synchronization issues if you do that, especially if you're recording an instrument like a vocal or a violin. You might end up sounding out of tune if you change the sample rate and the conversion is not properly done. So you should not be changing sample rates at all times. The best thing you can do is work with 44.1 or 48,000 and keep working at that sample rate level and don't change it. And whenever you go to a recording session with a musician in Musiversal, you can actually choose the sample rate that you're currently working with. And if you do choose that, you don't have to worry about that anymore because you already chose the same one. Now, how do you check your sample rate? Because look, some DAWs, for example, Pro Tools, you cannot start a session without selecting a sample rate. But Logic, it usually is so user-friendly, it just goes into the session without even asking you. And same thing with GarageBand, and I believe Ableton does the same. So for Logic, what you have to do is you actually have to come all the way to project settings, and be mindful, this is not the Logic settings. This is not going to give you the sample rate amount because every single project in Logic can have a different sample rate. You actually come all the way here to project settings, and the best thing you can do is look for it, right? So you just explore this page and you might end up finding, here in audio, you're gonna see the sample rate. So for example, this session has a sample rate of 44.1 kilohertz. Now, does that mean that has low quality? Of course not, because it's already a very, very good quality. And to be honest, most humans, and even really trained humans, cannot hear the difference between 44 and 48. And actually, most people cannot even hear the difference between 44 and 96. But if you have a trained ear and you want to stretch a lot, the audio a lot, and experiment a lot of things, you can actually use 48 is usually better. But this session specifically is in 44.1 kilohertz. And look, we have a lot of audio here. So that means that this audio is recorded or converted to 44.1. So if I change this to 48 or any other sample rate now, it's going to stretch that audio and it's going to sound weird. And we might have some saturation issues, some distortion issues. So I'm gonna leave it at that. And whenever I book a session with a Musiversal musician, I won't change this. I will just signal to them that I'm recording at 44.1 and they're gonna send me 44.1 samples. Sounds good? I'm actually gonna check if we have any questions here. And for now, I think we're good. Let's see. We don't have any questions on YouTube. Let me check on Circle right now. We don't have any questions on Circle. And let me see in other places. Well, no questions. So that means that I am great at explaining things, and I'm very happy about that. But if you have any questions, please let me know. I'll be more than happy to help you out. Now, let's go back to our session. Testing 1, 2, let's see. Here we go. Well, now that we have this sample rate thing figured out, we can actually move on and decide what we're going to do with this. So Christian is not here, but whenever I talk to him about this track, we actually had a little bit of a conversation of what he was looking to record in this track. For example, this chords right here, it's pretty much, just a Logic piano that he would like to replace. This cello right here is a sample that he would be looking to replace as well. We don't know about the drums. Maybe we would like to, change those drums. This 808 thing, we might be able to change. So how do I get started? Like, what is my starting point if I don't know what I'm gonna do? Well, there's one thing that you should do, and that's gonna be useful for you in every single Musiversal session, which is to make a chord chart. Now, what is a chord chart? Think of a chord chart as a roadmap to the song's harmony. We have a melody in the song, which is, in this case, this is the melody. Just let go of the ball, high above the clouds, where the water flows. So the melody is the main note that is playing, the notes that make up the thing that we sing whenever we hear this song. And the harmony are the notes that are playing in the background and making up the chords that we're playing in the song. Right? So the chord chart is going to be a roadmap, first of all, for the song structure, and then for the harmony. And we want people to know, we want the musicians to know when exactly they're coming in to play, when they're starting to play, where are they doing things, and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to do a chord chart for this specific song, and you're going to see how this can be helpful and how easy it is to make a chord chart. Now, if you don't want to make a chord chart, you can actually book pre-production sessions with our producers here at Musiversal. They're gonna help you build the chord chart, a lead sheet as well. A lead sheet is will include the main melody in the information as well. A chord chart will not show the main melody, you know, in the notation. We're always only going to show the chords that are playing. And guess what? If you want to do a chord chart, you don't need to know how to read or write notation. It's actually very, very, very simple. If you know the chords, if you know, the positions on the guitar, if you know the tab, you really don't need to know music notation or how to write a score to do that. But we're gonna use a scoring software called MuseScore, and this is MuseScore. You can see I have a couple of songs here that I was writing to. Actually, a couple of songs that were recorded to Musiversal. And MuseScore is actually a free software that you can use. I generally use Sibelius, which is paid, but MuseScore for chord charts is going to work very, very well for this situation. So we're just gonna go ahead and create a new score, and a treble clef should be more than enough to do that. Now, if you don't know what a treble clef is, don't worry, it's pretty much just the general clef that we use for music notation. This just signals what kind of notes are going to be played. For a chord chart, you can actually use a bass clef if you want. You don't necessarily need to. Just go ahead with a treble clef, and that is fine. And a grand staff is going to give you both. You don't need that. We just need a treble clef. And actually, if you want, we can actually take this out. We don't really need the treble sign here. Oops. We don't really need the treble sign here. But if we want, it's there. Now, what is going on here? Right now, we have the title of the score, which is, let me remember the name, Above the Clouds. And here, we can just write chord chart. And we don't need this. Now, it is a little bit intimidating to look at this at first, because this is actually, where you would put, the notes for every song, but we're not gonna do this. There is a couple of things that you need to look at this, and you need to signal right away. You need to understand right away. So first of all, what is this? This is a bar. This is what we call a bar in music, and it's nothing more than exactly this in Logic. So if you open up Logic or whatever DAW, you're gonna see that we have a couple of numbers here. These are your bar numbers. So we have subdivisions in songs. In this case, our song has 4 subdivisions per bar. So we're gonna count 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. There are songs out there that have actually only 3 subdivisions, which would be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. In this case, it's 4. So, and this number is showing you how many of those subdivisions have been played. So here we only have 1 4/4 bar played. We have 2 bar, so it goes. This is nothing less than this. This is bar 1. This is bar 1, this is bar 2, this is bar 2, now bar 3, and this is bar 3, and so it goes. The way that we're gonna represent this in this clef is, first of all, we don't need notes here, and we don't need these rests here as well. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna select everything, which is Command A, or you can just, click the last one, hold Shift, and click the first one, or just do Control A, or if you're in Windows, and Command A if you are in a Mac. And you're actually gonna come all the way here in Tools, and you're gonna choose Fill with Slashes. Now that it's filled with slashes, we don't have to worry about notes that are being played. We can only worry about the chords, because we're signaling this is a chord chart. This is not going to have any notes. Now, remember that I said that this song specifically has 4 beat subdivisions in each beat, in each bar. Now, we need to signal that here. And this is exactly what we're going to do. If this was a waltz, for example, and instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, we would go for 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. We would actually go all the way here to time signatures, and we would change this 4/4 to 3/4, or any other time signature that you would like to choose. But in this case, it's 4/4, so we're gonna keep it 4/4. Now, we need to figure out what chords are being played here, and this is actually fairly easy. In the first note, in the first bar, there are no chords being played, and the second bar, there are actually no chords being played at all as well. So we know that the first bar and the second bar are going to be completely empty. We're not going to do that. Now, we know that we have this loop here, which is bar 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now we have a lot of chords here. And we need to put this information in that chord chart. And you're going to look at me and say, Pedro, how do I do that? I don't know what chords are being played. Well, if you know music theory, you can look at the notes and you will be able to say what chords are being played. But if you don't know music theory, actually Logic has a pretty cool thing, which is you just select this and it tells you what note is being played. Cool? So we know that the first note is an F. What we're going to do is this note is starting in the first beat of bar 3. So we're going to move all the way, we're going to come all the way here to our chord chart, and we're going to select the first beat of bar 3, and we're going to hit Command T, or Control T if you're in Windows, Command T if you are in a Apple computer, and we're just going to write the note F. Now, if you don't want to do this with the keyboard, you can actually come here and just select text, and you can do this. There you go. Now, every musician knows that when it comes to the third bar of that song, the first beat, they have to play an F chord, or whatever note is in the F chord. Now, this song, it does not have one chord per bar. We actually have 2 chords in this first bar. And we know that the second chord actually starts on the third beat of this bar. So we have the first beat here. Let's put the tempo, the click playing so we can hear that. Let's hear it. See, so we hear the click twice in the first chord. And when we hear the third click, we change to this other chord, which if we select everything, we see that this is an A minor. So we know that on the third beat of bar 3, we are switching to A minor, and we're playing A minor until the end of beat of bar 3, until the start of bar 4. So we come here and we select the third beat of the third bar, and we just hit Command T again, and we write A minor. Sounds good? Awesome. Now let's go to the fourth beat. Awesome. So the fourth beat also has, the fourth bar also has 2 chords playing. And the first chord is also being played in the first 2 beats, which is D. That's D5, which means it's pretty much the D with another fifth, but it's D major that is playing essentially. So we're just gonna, if you want, you can write D5. We can totally do that. So why not, right? Cool. Awesome. And then we have a C playing right after, which is also C5. We don't have a third being played. Well, we're getting into music theory now. We don't have a third being played, so we don't technically know if this is a major or minor chord. But if we know, of course, the key of the song, we definitely know if it's a major or minor. But for all intents and purposes, if you don't know how to analyze your music theory, you can just follow logic, and it will be more than enough for most of the musicians. So we just hit Command T one more time, and we're gonna write C5 here. Now see, the fifth bar only has one chord playing, and it's a B flat major 7. So it's B flat 5 major 7. So we don't have a third being played, we only have a major 7th being played. So we're gonna write exactly this in the chord chart so the musician knows exactly what chord is being played. And since this is playing in the whole bar, in the whole bar 5, we actually don't have to worry about the rest of the bar, because it's only one chord. So we're gonna hit Command T again, and it's a B flat 5 with a major 7 in it. Sounds good? Awesome. And then we go to the last chord, which is a, again, we come back to C5. Command C again, and we do C5. Awesome. See, now we already have a very simple beginning, a very structured start for this chord chart. Let me see if we have any questions here. We don't have any questions right now, so we can move on. Now we're gonna look at the rest of the song, and we have more chords coming up here, so let's take a look at them. I think it's just repeating, right? Oh, it is repeating, but we don't have a, here, if it was just a repetition, we would have a C5 here, but we don't have one. So we're just gonna write exactly that again. We don't need to write the whole thing. We can just, pretty much just copy and paste it. There we go. Let's look at it from the beginning. And I'm gonna leave the click on so we can, locate together what is going on. Oops. Perfect. Now, we have the very basic beginning here, and we can move on to the rest. We know that there are no chords being played here. Now, we don't have the keys playing here, but we have this, we have the bass. And we know that the bass is playing the exact same melody, the exact same harmony, but with just less notes. So we know that we can keep using the same information that we had before. We're gonna have one bar with nothing, and then we're gonna have our loop coming back in again. So we have this one bar of nothing. And one thing that I always like to do is I just like to organize my clef. So I have this little, I just click enter, and I just always am going to leave, 4 bars in one line, because that, just makes things much more simple, much simpler. And I know that this song is a loop, so I'm just going to copy and paste this because, well, it's going to be the same over and over and over again. Right? Awesome. Now, this is already a pretty decent chord chart that you can set. Of course, we have a lot of bars here that we can delete, but this is already a pretty okay chord chart for the musicians to start with. But we can take it to the next level. We can actually take some text and signal to the musician what exactly is going on. So for example, I can just say that this is an intro. Sounds good? This is the intro. And it goes all the way here. And maybe this is a verse. Oops. And let's say that our verse goes for, I don't know, let's see. Or maybe this is not even a verse. I believe this fits more as a chorus, right? So let's use this as a chorus. Awesome. So we know that we have from bar 11 until bar 23, we have a chorus. So we're gonna signal that. We have this chorus here, we have bar 23, this is bar 19. So 19, 20, 21, 23. We know until here, this is going to be our chorus. But we don't have any chords here, so since they are the same chords, we can just do Command C and Command V and record them here. Now, after this, we're moving to, I don't know, maybe this is a verse. So I can just select this here and do Command T again and go to the first verse. And look, here's the thing. The verse is also the same chords, so I can just repeat those chords here as well. And we all know how these things are going to happen. And maybe our verse goes for a couple of, let's see how many bars. I'm guessing this is where the new chorus would start. If Christian was here, he would be able to tell me. But this is exactly where the chorus would begin again. So we have from bar 23 until bar 39 is our verse. Now here's the thing. I don't have enough bars here. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to add more measures after the selection. So I don't know, let's just add like 20 and we can delete those later if we don't use all of them. But I know that I need to go into bar 39 with my verse until I move into the chorus again. So I'm just gonna, organize this and make this look, a little bit more tidy, a little bit more clean, so it's easier to read. Now, one very important thing is that these bars that we added, they don't have the slashes, so we have to select all of them and just come back here in Tools and just fill with slashes. And then we know exactly that this is a chord chart and we don't have any melody information coming up anytime soon, right? So, all right, everything is a little bit organized, and I know that the chords never change. So this is actually pretty easy to do. I can just, do this all day. Now, bar 39, this is where my new chorus comes in. And of course, the chords are not changing in the chorus, but I am signaling this is the chorus, so that the musicians know what is going on. Sounds good? And after the chorus goes until bar 47. All right. Have this. And then we actually don't need this measure, so I can just delete that. And this is the end of the track right here. It ends on the end of bar 46 is my last bar. So this is bar 46, my last bar. And this is the complete chord chart for this song. And to be honest, we actually can make it look a little bit tidier. We can probably make this fit in just one page. But, well, we don't have to go over that now, because otherwise I believe it would be a little bit too much. But this is the very start of how to write a chord chart for our musicians. And if you send that to a guitar player, to a bass player, to a keys player, to a drummer, they already have a map of the song, and they know exactly what is going on, what is going to come up, and it's going to make your session much faster, much more efficient, and you'll be able to do so much more in the session. So this is a very, very important thing that you can do to make sure that your sessions are much more effective. All right, we actually have a question from R.A. Fiallos. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. I'm sorry about that if I'm not. But for songs that change tempo and need certain drum breaks, is that a session with a drummer to communicate that I need, or a pre-production person to help me write a drum chart? Now, it depends. If you have the exact part that you want the drummer to play, like you are actually writing out the fills, like you hit the snare this many times, you hear the tom one this many times and all that, you're actually writing for drums, composing for drums, then you would need to write a chord chart, a drum chart with, drum notation. But if you just need a feel, you can just signal that in your chord chart. So let me share my screen one more time. All right, so let's say right before this chorus, I want the drummer to make a fill. You can actually, if you want, you can signal that here for the drummer. You don't really need to, but you can write here. Like the score works as a letter, and you can write in it. And you write whatever you want. There are actually a lot of articulations that people usually write. But anyways, if you just want a drum fill here, you can actually just do Command T. Oops, sorry. Command T, and you can just write drum fill. And this will signal to the drummer that you want to fill. You don't have to go, you don't have to be very specific about it. You don't have to go overboard. Just communicating in a very clear manner is okay. Or you are in the session with the drummer and you didn't write that in the chord chart. You can actually just tell her, hey, look, man, in bar, let's see, 35, 36, 37, 38. In bar 38, I want you to do a fill right before the chorus. Can you do that? This is already very good information that is going to help your drummer a lot when it comes to recording. Does that make sense? If that made sense, please let me know. If you want me to explain one more time or in a different way, please let me know and I'll be more than happy to. Right? Sounds good? Do we have any other questions? Please let me know in the comments if you have any other questions. We're gonna move on now, and while you're writing your questions, I'm actually going to show you one more little thing that you can do if your song has multiple timings or multiple tempos. One thing that you may notice is that this chord chart does not show me the tempo of the song. It doesn't show me if it's 80 BPM or 120 BPM or whatnot. Usually you don't have to do that. If it's only one tempo, you don't change tempos in the middle of the song. You already put in the session booking what tempo the song is in. So you don't have to write it again here if you don't want to. But let's say if you have tempo changes in your song, you have the intro, you always select this. This is very important. Quarter note equals 80 BPM. Now a quarter note is each one of these subdivisions. In a 4/4 timing signature, you're gonna have 4 quarter notes per bar. Okay? You're gonna have 4 quarter notes, 8 notes, 2 semi-breves, and 1 whole note. When it comes to tempo for regular time, which is 4/4, we always use this. Quarter note equals whatever BPM we're using. So you just select the first note and you click on quarter note equals 80, and let's see what tempo the song is. It's actually 90. So we're gonna change this to 90. All right. And you can put this wherever you want to put. Of course, if you put like it here in the middle, it's going to be really weird. We don't want to do that. Just to keep it tidy, keep it looking good, you know, make it, you know, the best possible, the tidiest the possible. If we have a tempo change, let's say right before the chorus is a little bit faster. What if the chorus was a little bit faster? You can actually signal that right here. You can select the note, the first note in the chorus, and then we click tempo, and let's say it changes to, I don't know, maybe 95. There, you signaled that this is going to change to 95 on bar 39. And then we go to the DAW and we know that on bar 39, the tempo is actually going to be different. It's going to go to 95. Oops, 95, not 94. Oh my God. 95. Sounds good. Bar 39, 95. Bar 39, 95. Does that make sense? Let's see if we have any other questions. I don't believe we do. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I hope this was helpful, and I wait for you on next week for our songwriting night. And if you're not going to be part of the songwriting night, I'll be waiting you for the week after that, which we're gonna have another awesome live stream, and I hope to see you there. Sounds good? Thank you so much, and have a great night.